Hey everybody, we got a new bike to take a first look at and review this month. This bike is a carbon sinker. This bike's been used before, and that's okay. I really appreciate Diamondback for sending this to me. While I'm getting this set up, I want to let you guys know I have merch available if you're interested. If you ride hardtails and you're proud of your hardtail and you want other people to know, get a Hardtail Party shirt or hat or something like that. I want you to feel like Hardtail Party represents you. It's not just a YouTube channel, it's for all people who love hardtails. And I want to give a big thanks to my patrons. YouTube has been undercutting their creators a lot lately. My views are higher than ever, but my income hasn't changed at all. They keep paying us less and less and less for the ads you see at the beginning of a video. So I rely on my patrons to make this so it's worth the time to do all this. So thank you, patrons. If you're interested in supporting this channel and helping shape its direction in future, go to patreon.com/hardtailparty and become a patron. That is the future. That's the only way I'm going to be able to do this full time down the road, is with healthy Patreon support. So thank you in advance. All right, this is a carbon frame. I remember when this first came out, I was at Sea Otter. Seth was sitting at a table signing autographs for hours, and Diamondback had one of these out on display. Oh, it looks pretty cool. So right now we've got GX Eagle on it. That is a great drivetrain. I love GX Eagle. We have Truvative Descendant cranks on here, an X Fusion Manic dropper, Diamondback branded saddle and stem with race face bars. That's cool to see. This is a size medium, which on the chart I base my sizing off of reach, and this is closest to my reach. I could have gone with a large, except the seat tube would have been too long. You know me, I got short legs. I always love it when this seat tube mast is shorter, especially when you have a straight seat tube like this. But we'll see, I'll have to get on it. This might feel way shorter than it looks. I dig that. I love a straight seat post. That means you can run super long seat posts. And that just means more options for more people. And it means getting the seat completely out of the way when it's dropped. I mean, having a dropper that drops it a few inches is nice, but when you can just slam it like it's not even there, that makes a huge difference when riding. This has really cool decals. Interesting, this bike has been crashed and has a bit of damage on it, so I'm going to be touching that up before I even ride it. But it's cool. It's a matte black frame with gloss black decals. We got a nice chain stay protector here, internal shifter routing through here. How about brake? Oh, Diamondback, you rock. External brake housing, love that. So far specs looking good. We got aluminum bars, 35mm bars, which we're seeing on a lot of more aggressive bikes. GX shifter, I'm glad to see that's not an NX. There's a big difference between GX and NX shifters. Cool little build. This isn't just like cheap parts thrown on this. This is a solid build. All right, a Fox 34 Performance. We've got a threaded bottom bracket, but we don't have the external cups. That's interesting. We got 3 bosses here to kind of place your water bottle wherever you want. Okay, this is a medium and it says height 5'7" to 5'10". I'm 5'6". I like a longer reach. I actually like a little bit longer reach than this medium, but that's okay. We'll take it out. Sometimes the numbers lie on the page and they don't ride like you think they would, and this might be the best geometry I've ever ridden. Always remember when adjusting your fork pressure, I'm only putting pressure in the positive chamber. There's a negative chamber down here, and I have to cycle the fork to get some of the positive pressure into the negative, and as it shares it from the positive to the negative, this will go down in pressure naturally. So anytime you change the fork pressure, you need to cycle it about 5 times all the way through to that negative pressure dimple. And I think a 34 is a good fork for a hardtail. I've had a 36, I've had a 34. I think the 34s are just fine. Cool, I'm looking through the specs on this. This bike was pretty modern for its time, and I talk about it like it's old. It's not old. It's still a relevant bike, and the geometry is still pretty on par. We have a 66-degree head angle, 435 mil chain stays, which is on the longer side of things, so it should feel pretty planted and stable. We'll see how playful it is and how easy it is to get that front end up. It's got a good size reach. This is like 438 for a medium, which is pretty good. It's got some killer spec too. Shimano hydraulic brakes, 12-speed Eagle GX, good stuff. A Fox Float 34 performance fork, tubeless ready tires. Pretty cool bike. These have tubes in them, so I always run tubeless in my reviews because that's how the bikes were meant to be run. So I'm going to pull the tubes out. These have 2.8 DHRs, which I love. Excellent tire choice. A plus tube is a big tube. These are heavy, and you will actually feel the difference if you take the tubes out and throw some sealant in. So you'll notice with the tube out, there's no valve stem because I pulled it out. So you need to add your own valve stems and sealant. These are not particularly wide rims for 2.8s. I tried to look up the specs, I couldn't find them. I'm gonna guess they're 30 mil internal. I love a 40 mil internal when you're running plus. It really makes the benefit of plus come out because they're able to be wider and the sidewall's not so squirmy and the tire's not so rounded. I feel they ride best. All right, this is ready for some Orange Steel sealant. All right, I just got a package from Orange Steel. Let's see what's in it. I'm excited. These are the hand-up gloves. Sweet, the Orange Steel ones. That is fun. A t-shirt. Orange Steel is a partner of mine. I did not pay for this. We work together. I've paid for many, many, many bottles of Orange Steel Endurance Sealant. Many. And then I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm using your stuff anyway. I love it. Let's partner. And they're like, okay, we like your channel. So every now and then I get hooked up from some great companies with things like t-shirts and hats and product. So Orange Steel has 3 different sealants. They have a cold weather one for fat biking in the snow. They have the endurance sealant, which is what I use. And then they have the regular sealant. The regular sealant plugs slightly larger holes, but it dries out a little bit faster. It still doesn't dry out fast, but it dries out faster than these. These last a very long time. And living in the desert where things are dry, it's easy for regular sealant to dry up, but I find the endurance sealant lasts extremely long. One cool thing about these Orange Steel bottles, if you get it with the injection kit, this has a dipstick, and this you dip into your valve of your bike once it's inflated, and you can check how full your tire is of sealant, so it'll kind of register with how much is in there. That's a really cool idea because you're never really sure until you crack the bead. Now you can know for sure. I'm sloshing the sealant around. You especially want to get it between the rim and the tire. So when I'm done, when I take this out on its test ride, I'm gonna shake it all around and make sure on the inside it's getting in between that crack and really making an airtight seal. And then we have a little pool of sealant that's sitting inside the tire at all times spinning. So if I hit a cactus, I usually don't pull them out because they're already plugging it, but if you want to pull it out, you can. And then as the sealant goes by that, it plugs up, and when it comes in contact with the air, it forms a hard little plug, and you're good to keep riding. You don't even realize you've plugged the hole half the time. This is interesting. The tire is pretty rounded because this rim is not quite as wide as I like. It'll be okay, but it means you really have to lean that tire to engage the cornering knobs. So you're gonna have to lean this bike more than you're used to, is my guess. All right, it's time to torque the stem on. You get the little race face guy lined up in there, side to side and up and down to get the roll just right. And then you torque these. Right here it says 6 Newton meters. To my torque wrench is a Topeak Nano torque bar. This thing is awesome. It has 3 different little sockets here, and each one's set to a different torque value. 4 Newton meters, 5 Newton meters, 6 Newton meters. And when I put it in here, it will slip when I've hit the right torque, so I can't possibly over torque it. And you always want to torque in a crisscross pattern to spread the load. Very cool tool that will help you from breaking stuff, stripping bolts, crushing handlebars, that sort of thing. Right here and here has some damage, and that is one of the downsides of carbon. It's not nearly as strong from impacts as metal, like aluminum. Aluminum wouldn't chip like that. Yeah, that's a bummer. Let's go through some of the components and stuff I notice. We have a dropper post that's routed internally, and it's all the way internal. There's no little loop out here, which is super nice. And that's one of the benefits of carbon. This is all one hollow tube all the way through. So same with the rear derailleur cable, is one hollow piece. You don't have any loops that pop out down here. I love that it has ISCG tabs. It's amazing that this comes with a chain guide and a bash guard from the factory. They know how I'm going to be riding this bike, and I'll be using that bash guard. That's awesome. I love that it's tubeless ready. I love that it comes with solid tires. That's one area where a lot of companies will save money and run some cheap tires. These DHR 2.8s are one of my favorite tires, front and rear. We got a DHF up front, which I still like too. One bummer, you can see how round the profile is. That's because the rim is not a little bit wider. So that means you're really gonna have to lean that to engage those cornering knobs, which is a skill a lot of newer riders don't have. Love that it's got 12-speed Eagle. Dropper X Fusion Manic. That's a well-known budget dropper that works well. We got a Diamondback branded seat. Doesn't look great. These are the coolest bar end plugs I've ever seen. For life, bro. Yeah, looks good. What would I change? I would probably lower this an inch because I'm a shorty, and I think that'd be cool to be able to slam that all the way. But that'd probably hit the tire, so maybe there's no reason to do that anyway. Looks like there's good standover. We've got room for 2 water bottles up there. Good looking bike. This is sharp. I'm excited to take this out. This has some modern geometry. 66-degree head angle, a nice reach that's not extremely long, but not short by any means. This should be a modern feeling hardtail. I'm excited to take this out. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that review, and turn on the bell icon so you're notified when I do. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, check out some of my other builds, some of my other reviews. There's a party in the mountains, and you're invited.